live.
Yeah, I guess so.
Make sure we're live. Okay.
It says live 16 seconds. So.
Awesome. Okay. So welcome to the 33rd episode of the Broken Pictures podcast / YouTube show, where we discuss the top 3 things that you may have missed in pop culture this week.
There may be potentially spoilers for your favorite TV shows, movies, video games, and or comics. Live from Northwest Arkansas, this is the FOMO Show.
Sorry. I can't help but laugh.
Wow. All right. Well, that was supposed to be our intro. For whatever reason, decided not to work. Still working the bugs out of this thing.
Technical difficulties.
Nope. Not that time either. Okay. So, all right. Well, let's get on with it. My name is Dylan.
And I'm Lydia.
This is Quin.
And we just want to say thanks for joining us today. Whether you're new to the show or returning, we're glad to have you along for the ride and hope you'll join us live on YouTube every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Please like, subscribe. Sorry, there's normally a share there and it threw me off. Like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon.
Ding.
So that you know when we post a new video. Podcast listeners, please leave us 5 stars in your podcast app. Or you can check out the website at www.brokenpicturesno.com. Anybody? No? No.com.
Sorry.
No.com. Sorry. We're mesmerized by the screen that don't break the break the barrier. It's an illusion. Okay. So, as if you could understand Irish Quin over there. Where am I? Sorry. Okay, so special notes first. Okay, sorry. I'm completely lost for a second. So last month was Suicide Prevention Month in September. Today is October 1st, and it is the first day of ADHD Awareness Month. Mental health is something that is very close to near and dear to our hearts, and as I'm sure you have people who are near and dear to your hearts, or you are near to their. Wow, I am really bungling this.
You have people that are close to your heart.
Yeah, you have people, and you're close to their heart. Oh my gosh. Okay. So anyways, if you need help, get help, because there are people that care about you is the gist of it. Don't let stigma hold you back from pursuing a happy, healthy life. But on another note, entirely shift gears. It is October 1st. And so if you haven't already, you're late to the game. Pull out all your Halloween gear and start decorating. And pull out the scary movies.
I have a quote for this, and I'm so excited to share it with you because
right, let's get spooky.
I saw a little poem that I thought you guys might like. Roses are red, grass is green, it's freaking bats. I love Halloween.
It's freaking bats.
It's my favorite video ever of the little girl, and she's like, it's freaking bats. I love Halloween. And they turned it into a poem, and it's the best thing on this planet.
Amazing.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Super excited. I almost went full Dwight and just wore a pumpkin on my head.
Wow. You know what I just realized?
Oh, no.
The reason our intro didn't work. Let me play that intro for you.
I thought that's what it was, but I wasn't back.
That makes sense.
And we're back. So the whole time you guys had no clue. I'm going to take it off of studio mode because this 2-screen thing and trying to do it on the fly is messing with me. So like we're seeing one screen that is like prepared to show you guys, and us. I forgot to like change it over so that you could see it, and we're like making jokes about it. We don't even know. So Yeah.
Yeah, when he was doing the hand thing, he definitely didn't transition it over. So I was like, they don't know.
This
what
is
you're
this is
talking
what we were talking about
about.
earlier. Like, don't
'Cause
break
my
the
hand's
barrier.
here, and then whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and special notes and yeah. And so let's move on to spoiler alert. If you didn't hear Irish Quin earlier, we will get spoilery. We're not going to spoil your favorite fandoms on purpose, but we will tread into spoiler territory. So be warned. Now, so moving on to the next thing. What are you guys into this week? What are you reading? What are you playing? Video games? Watching?
Oh man, I haven't played video games in so long.
I'm still playing The Witcher.
You'll still be playing The Witcher. The game takes forever.
Yeah, I'm trying to get familiar with it because the Netflix show is coming soon.
Yeah. What have I been watching? Oh, I turned on DC Universe and I started watching Young Justice Season 3.
Nice.
Probably gonna watch Titans tonight. And then, what else did I watch? I finished The Blacklist, Season 6. I finished,
6 seasons in that show?
right? Yeah.
Wow.
And everything I'm saying, don't miss. Unless you just never got into The Blacklist, because it takes a minute. What else? We watched
James Spader, the voice of Ultron.
Yeah.
Blacklist.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Also from The Office.
Also, I didn't realize that
Robert
until
California.
like afterwards, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy I saw you on The Blacklist first, because I saw you on this. I would have no faith." But yeah, I think that's it.
Really?
That's all I watched.
Cool.
Yeah.
We watched Aladdin for
Yeah.
pizza movie night.
I'm gonna have to say miss, man. I mean, it made $1 billion. I don't know if that was just. I mean, Spider-Man 3 did well in theaters too. I'm just saying.
Hey,
I feel like that's
still
comparing
some of us haven't
apples to
seen it.
oranges.
Yeah, I mean, like I was such a fan of the original Aladdin, like it was just. I mean, that was like my favorite one when I was a kid. And I mean, and I was gonna give it a chance, and I didn't see it in theaters, and I gave it time, and didn't rush out to get it when it came out on disc or digital or anything, just because I wanted to make sure that I was coming in clean, and so. But we watched it, and I love Guy Ritchie stuff. I love Will Smith stuff, but man, it did not do it for me at all.
No, very lackluster.
In the very beginning, when Will Smith started singing, I was like, okay, something different. I kind of like this. Like I've never actually heard him sing,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, this is interesting. All right, they're pulling something out new. This is what I'm expecting. But no.
But no.
Like it was literally like, I mean, from the color palette to the acting to the random sing-alongs, it was like watching a Broadway play on screen. And some people are totally down with that, and sometimes it works, but this just it felt wooden. It felt two-dimensional.
There was one thing that I felt was like super random for me out of everything in the movie, and that was when Jasmine was being taken away, and then like she just started singing. I was like,
and everybody starts disappearing, and we're like, what is going on?
What
Is
just
she
happened?
a witch? Like, is this real?
Yeah, probably the best performance was Handsome Jafar. And the whole thing, like I was like, this dude is nuts.
Yeah.
Like he's got the crazy eyes and everything.
Start throwing people down holes. Your insanity goes about right there with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, everybody was great, singing and dancing and all that jazz. But even Will Smith's genie, when he was basically regurgitating what already came before, is the low points. When he was being himself and adding new material to it, and even playing versions of what came before in his own way, that's what drew me in. That's what I liked the most. So I mean, I felt like he should have just went and did his own thing completely, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it just seemed like he was just really just repeating the script from the cartoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for us, again, it was a miss. We're also catching up on Fear the Walking Dead. So we watched a couple episodes of season 3 the other day, Sunday night. We're pretty behind, and we're trying to catch up because we feel like we have to.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, Fear. If you don't watch The Walking Dead, watch The Walking Dead, but don't watch Fear. The Fear. So we watched like the first 2 seasons to give it a shot, and it just was horrible.
It flopped for us.
It was horrible. Like even the rules that are set up in this universe do not apply. Like it is in a separate universe. I swear, it's supposed to be in the same world.
Wait, like which rules?
So okay, season 1, right? Walking Dead. How they escaped the mall, the department store, right? They covered themselves in goo and guts, even all the way up until Carl got shot in the eye, right? Covered in guts, like consistent. Draped. Like even, I mean, they're so much so that they're having a whisper, and a kid speaking a little too loud caused a feeding frenzy, right? Yeah. Like sharks. They throw spatter a little blood, and they're good to go for like across the country, and no big deal.
And they're just walking and talking.
Yeah, yeah. It's inconsistent. It's almost like they're trying to be somewhat obscure with the material, like almost kind of artsy-ish, but it's not landing.
So I look at Fear as if like The Walking Dead wasn't a comic and like the show wasn't going off of that for the most part. That's what The Walking Dead would have been if it was like an original idea that just was straight to this TV screen.
Oh no.
It still sucks.
I mean, The Walking Dead had powerful characters, but Fear just keeps trying to push the same dead horse on you. It's like nobody likes Kim Dickens' character. Except, I mean, there's like a small few that want like her character left the show and they're trying to get her back or whatever. But like she is unlikable, and they're trying to force her upon you. And they killed off all the likable characters around her. Yeah. And it was just like, okay, now you gotta like her. No. I quit. You know, but with this last season of Fear, I'm surprised the show is still going on, to be honest. And then they brought Morgan over there, and now they brought Dwight over there, and they started bringing in different attributes that are like teasers for the Rick movie that's come in. Yeah, like trying to hardcore bring them together. So just for the sake of our Walking Dead show that will be coming back on the air soon, because The Walking Dead comes back Sunday on the 6th. It
does.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a show. If you're watching this, it's called The Broken Dead, and it will be on YouTube as well, so you can find us on talking that after each episode. But we're catching up on Fear just to try to catch up and be relevant in what's going on, because they've irrevocably tied it together now to where just to know what's going on and get those extra little bonus things, you got to follow up on what's going on, and it's so infuriating.
I'm sorry, I get you. Well.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm still watching Parks and Rec.
Sorry.
Yeah, to climb off that soapbox, though.
Yeah.
You want to hit the #1 movie of the week?
Oh, yeah.
Hold up.
I'm going to butcher that. Right now, I'm going to butcher that. I didn't heard it, but I'm looking at it. It's like, that don't look like how it's... Okay.
Where you at, man?
The #1 movie of the week is Abominable. Abominable.
That's really good.
Okay, all right.
Abominable.
Yeah. Abominable. Yeah. With a rotten tomato score of 80% for the critic score. The audience score is holding strong at 96%.
Yes, this is actually like better than some of the movies that have come out recently.
It is.
It's got a better score than It 2. And they're saying like this is like the best animated film of the year.
Oh, well,
Which they say of all
of them, yeah. But I know it came from the same, some DreamWorks, but the same people that worked on the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy worked on this movie, so I might watch it because How to Train Your Dragon's like one of my favorites.
I think it's kind of cool that Chloe Bennett is the voice of the kid Yi. Well, I think that's it.
From Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you want me to go back?
No, I'm saying that I wasn't sure if I was pronouncing that name right and if that was
got
the
you.
little girl or the Yeti.
Got you. Yeah, it's the little girl. If you read the synopsis of it or whatever, it seems like a crossover.
It says a magical Yeti must return to his family. That's it.
Oh.
That's all it says.
Oh, well, you're on IMDb. Go to Rotten Tomatoes.
You
It's a
go to
little bit
Rotten
more-
Tomatoes.
I did, and that's how I know.
That I was trying to be like, you go there.
So yeah, I mean, it seems like a crossover between Missing Link and Smallfoot,
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
but it's supposed to be like super heartwarming
Well, good.
Yeah.
We need more feel-good movies.
for sure.
No,
do.
no problem with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else on this movie? I don't think. Well, I thought it was interesting that, so it's over the past few years, there's been kind of a trend of like more main characters in major movies being Asian American or just Asian in general. Like, oh crap, forgot the name of the
Crazy
movie.
Rich Asian.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Agents.
Crazy Rich Asians. I'm gonna mess it up
We
too.
can't speak this morning.
Yep.
Good morning.
But the girl, the main character, she is a Asian American trying to find, like the one I watched a little interview for her, they said she was trying to find her way in the world and balancing herself between two different cultures, and then she meets a Yeti, and here we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely thought you were talking about
Wow.
Crazy Rich Asians for a minute. I was like, whoa, plot twist. She meets a Yeti. And then I realized.
The wonders of China.
So yeah, thought that was neat. But that's all I have on that.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So I guess it's time for the top 3 things this
Scoot
week.
into frame here.
I'll do the same. But number 1 is Spiderman. Spiderman.
I kind of hijacked it. I put my own face in there.
Rude. Wow. Rude.
So yeah, this is my favorite comic book character, and he's kind of had a rough go the past couple months, and I'm gonna put you guys back on the screen. It's just because I feel awkward. So yeah, he's had a rough go, obviously, and I think everybody's got a case of Spider-Man Whiplash. No, not the Iron Man villain from Iron Man 2. He's not going to be fighting Spider-Man.
He died.
But, I mean, just the come and go, and everybody's just kind of tired of it. And he's just kind of caught up in the web of studios right now. What?
The web of studios.
The web of studios. You remember that game, like Web of Shadows?
Yes.
Okay. Somebody knew what I was going for. It was not a good game. Not very good, but anyways. But yeah, so everybody knows by now Spider-Man is back in the MCU, but for how long? So this is what the contract is. Whatever came before, and either Disney messed it up or Sony messed it up. There's conflicting opinions, and there's a lot of misinformation saying somebody offered this and somebody didn't take it, and then this and then that and whatever, and back and forth. But this is what it's settled on. Right now, he's coming back for Spider-Man 3. He gets one Spider-Man movie in the MCU and one unnamed MCU movie. So he's coming back for different movie other
least
than
two.
Spider-Man, right? So it's 2 more movies in the MCU, and after that, we don't know. There's plenty of time for a new contract to be drawn up or anything like that could happen, and that's kind of where I was landing on the whole Spider-Man is out of the MCU thing. Was just give it time, because this is too lucrative a deal for them to not do it. You know what I mean?
The last one by itself made $1 billion.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, and plus they've got, both of them are trying to use Tom Holland and the same Spider-Man in both their universes, and they both can't have it both ways, Plus, you're going to piss off all the fans if you don't finish out the story, and bring a close. So that's what everybody's speculating right now. Is like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Are they going to kill off Spider-Man at the end of his MCU run or whatever? And I doubt they're going to do that. They're probably just have him go do something until, and if
to come back.
He's gonna go James Taylor and just what was his name? Where the little kid from Home Improvement, where he went to the Peace Corps.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, I got Taylor in there.
Yeah. James Taylor is a songwriter, singer-songwriter.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're gonna write him into the Peace Corps.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's gonna stick to the neighborhood.
Okay.
He's had too much fun. He'll go back to the neighborhood.
Saving the universe? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just go back
He's
to
gonna go
bus
save
and
another country
too
that we
rough.
don't get to. They don't have Wi-Fi, so we can't video.
So originally the deal they were hoping to do was 6 Spider-Man movies. They were planning on doing 3 high school movies and 3 college movies.
They who?
Sony, Marvel.
Okay.
That was like the hopes, but then they drew up this. Excuse me. They drew up this first contract, just see how it goes, and obviously it went really well. So much so that neither one of them wanted to. When it came time to renegotiate it, neither one of them wanted to give up anything.
Right.
But this one, they settled on an extra 2 movies to give it a chance to close out if necessary. Disney is going to pay for and get 25% of the profits, whereas before they were only getting, I think, like 5% of the opening day profits.
Oh.
Yeah. For the Sony films. For their films, they got their profits. But for the Sony films that they produced and they worked on and they set up, they only got 5% of the profits. However, all of the franchising, as far as like, everything from backpacks to toys to all that stuff, anything that's not film rights, Disney owns. Disney got that money. And that is if you ask George Lucas, that is way more lucrative than the movies.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody was like, oh, well, Disney's the one being selfish because they just want more, because they've got plenty with the franchising rights, right? But at the same time, they were lending out Kevin Feige, and they were doing a lot of the work. And then Sony came back and was like, oh, you know what? We got good people too. And Kevin Feige didn't do it all. Plus, you know what? Kevin Feige's too busy. They've got the X-Men Fantastic Four coming in. He's too busy. As you'll find out in the next segment, Kevin Feige is not too busy. No. He's trying to do a Star Wars movie.
Kevin's like, I sleep 3 hours. I need something else to do.
What are you trying to do here?
I'm trying to get me off screen.
Oh. Hold on. I don't know that I can do that. You might just need to leave.
Okay. Well, I was trying to get it back to the Spider-Man screen.
Oh, my bad.
But
well, that just shows me. So yeah, she got to step out for a second.
They can just hear my voice.
Yeah.
But so with one thing for Spider-Man 3, I did hear one rumor that Peter's probably gonna have to have a lawyer in his movie, and it's probably gonna be Charlie Cox.
Well, there's people are asking, would you rather She-Hulk or Daredevil?
She-Hulk will be the most obvious, just because she's already there. But if they,
yeah, she's got a Disney Plus series coming out.
Yeah, and she's a little. Which really though, she could be in there too, but she could be opposite of. Yeah, see,
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing. And
But one argument that I heard was that as far as like being a supporting character and setting up the audience with that character, Daredevil doesn't need that.
no,
She-Hulk does. So she'll
so having
probably
her
end
show
up
up
being
and
the
then
yeah.
they could both be in there, and then we could just slowly start setting up to the new Avengers.
Yeah.
Because that's all I want.
And
now.
by that time, Daredevil and all the Defenders Netflix things will be out of contract and free to use in the MCU. And Kevin Feige is pulling no punches and is going out all the way for the MCU. Like they're basically closing down the Marvel TV set wing, like that had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Runaways, what was the other one? Cloak and Dagger. The shows that really nobody kind of watches, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's more invested in MCU, and these run parallel or whatever. Nobody even really knows.
They don't
S.H.I.E.L.D.
ever
Intersect.
intersect.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of sometimes, it was originally supposed to be, but
It got like this close and then went, ugh,
yeah.
every time.
Well, I mean, there was a big battle when Marvel Studios first became a thing. That Marvel, actual Marvel, like Perlmutter, was basically trying to run things and trying to get it to go a certain way and do things. And Kevin Feige was he was basically running things, but he had to answer to Ike Perlmutter. And it was causing a lot of strife, a lot of issues. And thanks to Bob Iger, Alan Horn, like the heads of Disney, Alan Horn is the head of Disney Films. Mm-hmm. So everything Disney film that's under Pixar, Lucasfilm, all that's Alan Horn. They basically stepped in and split the waters and said, okay, Kevin Feige, you got Marvel Studios, you handle the movie stuff. Ike, take the TV stuff. And they've been giving him the shaft ever since.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was pretty dang good.
Yeah,
It was like one of the
good.
highlights of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, they were trying to do a spinoff, right, on Hulu with the Robbie Rodriguez character. But I think like they were down to almost like 2 weeks before filming, and they pulled the plug.
Wow.
And they're saying the reason is because Kevin Feige wants Ghost Rider in the MCU.
Get
So,
out of here.
Yeah, and another thing behind the scenes, the chatter is that they really just didn't have what?
With Blade?
Very possibly. That's what I'm seeing on Twitter is the Night Stalkers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with that now.
So the like behind the scenes chatter is really that the Marvel TV wing just doesn't have near the budget that Marvel Studios has. No. And
you can tell that it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a soap.
Yeah, and I mean, even though they did the Ghost Rider's head, like the flames looked legit, they did it right. They can't afford to do that every episode. So how do you do Ghost Rider?
That's why he was there for like 4 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, like,
And he
I
does
mean,
himself
you do
most of the
10
time.
episodes. Yeah, you do 10 episodes, and 4 of them he flames on. I mean, it's basically, it's basically like the original Incredible Hulk show where he just is himself and going around. Then he gets something to do. I don't know.
You freak no. Oh.
Yeah. Except he hulked out every episode.
He
so.
did, but they just paid Lou Ferrigno green.
Yeah, but that was legit, man. Come on, don't hate.
Okay.
Don't hate on Lou. So
yeah.
So we're gonna get Ghost Rider in the MCU. That is freaking amazing. it's like it's all coming together. Oh, yeah.
Aw, Iron Man's dead. Aw.
Wow.
I mean, they could potentially be waiting and just holding that in the wings. But I mean, like right now, I think it was on John Campea. They were talking about how Marvel kind of actually needs Spider-Man right now, just because I mean they just lost Cap, they just lost Iron Man, and they lost Spider-Man. It's like who's the front runners? Like they're going.
Thor's just
The
chilling.
A-team is gone, right?
Yeah.
Like Thor. Yeah, Thor is it.
Thor's chilling. Hulk
And he's
is,
even taking a back seat in his new movie.
Yeah, Hulk's like, I don't get movies anymore. I just show up.
Yeah.
His arm's all burnt up anyway.
And half the people didn't like Hulk in the last movie anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was
Professor.
Yeah.
Bruce Hulk.
Yeah, the only Hulkish thing he did was throw the bench.
Throw the bench. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
You still have strength. Thank
yeah,
you.
Yeah, Natasha.
That's all I was wondering. I thought you were just like human strength, now just big. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like say cheese. He's like
He's a friggin' mascot. That's what he was.
he's like John Cena basically. He's just a likable celebrity that happens to be giant muscular.
Oh, yeah, sure, kids. Let me take off my glasses. What?
Do your homework. That's my best Mark Ruffalo, by the way.
But yeah, so Hulk did a couple good things in the last movie, but that's about it. He discovered immortality by accident, and then
In the last movie?
yeah, in Endgame, he accidentally discovered immortality.
Did he?
When he was trying to figure out how to make the quantum realm work, and he kept making what's his face,
Oh.
Ant-Man like age.
Uh-huh.
You could just use that age yourself to an every day. Same
Boom.
age.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I want to see Maestro. That's what I want to see.
All you need.
That's what I want to see.
Yep. I mean, they'd already done burnt up the arm. It's gonna get come on.
Yeah. But I mean,
But Spider-Man.
yeah, that's what I'm
All
saying.
right.
But we're supposed to be talking about Spider-Man. So I have seen Spider-Man Far From Home. They have not. Have you seen it yet?
No, I've seen bits
It
and
comes out
pieces.
today on
Does it?
disc. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my
It
gosh.
came out on digital like 2 weeks ago. But you had to buy it. You couldn't rent it.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm a hardcore like material. I want
Same
the
here.
thing. I want the thing in my hand. That's what she said. But anyways, trying to move on off that.
Okay.
So yeah. So okay. There. See, I'm trying to think. Kevin
One
Feige's
day I just want to
statement.
like jump into your head and like see how it's firing. Because it's got to be similar to a Mary Poppins painting in there. Like, I don't understand how it connects.
I forgot to get the statement from Kevin Feige about how all this was going down and what they were planning to do. But Spider-Man 3 will come out in 2 years, like July 2021. So they've already got the script. They have to have already got the script by now. Otherwise, they're
no
shooting.
way.
Yeah.
No way.
And so they're gonna have to start filming in the next couple months, because obviously they've got a lot of CG work to do and all that kind of stuff.
That one?
Spider-Man.
Yes, thank you.
3
So
Google, baby.
times 2
What now?
makes 6.
What now?
Spider-Man 3 times 2 makes 6. And then it gets sinister.
Bum bum bum.
Okay.
So that kind of leads in. That's a perfect segue, because the Kevin Feige statement that I was just mentioning is he said Spider-Man also happens to be the only hero with the superpower to cross cinematic universes. So as Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what the future might hold. So
Dun, dun, dun.
after Tom Holland's Spider-Man gets done in the MCU, it seems like it's all but officially announced that he will be entering the Venomverse or whatever they're calling it over there. I still hadn't seen Venom. I've been trying to watch it this weekend.
I can't find it.
It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I found it. Thank you.
So, I mean, Venom 2 is in full swing. I mean, Andy Serkis is directing. They've got a award-winning cinematographer. They're going all out. They're swinging for the fences, which is great.
That's what you
Still ain't got
gotta
no
do.
spider on his chest,
No.
but he looks legit. Like, hold on. I have not been showing these pictures. I'm not going to show the pictures.
Okay.
Well, as I was getting these pictures ready, I was just like, man, they really like made Venom look right. Outside of how he looked in Spider-Man 3. Wow, that was
Tight.
abrupt.
Sorry. It just
You okay?
I need some more.
I'm gonna pat your back. You gonna turn up your jug of hooch here? We are in Arkansas.
I'm trying to shut y'all mouth.
So, anyways, Jared Leto Morbius is happening. Nobody cares about. So I don't know what they're. Apparently, they still got the Black Cat and Silver Sable movies coming. They did, however, the day before they announced Spider-Man was coming back to the MCU, they announced a Madam Web movie coming.
It's game. That's what's happening next. Cool.
Yep.
All right. It's fine
If
by
you don't
me.
know who Madam Web is, let me go ahead and pull up this picture for you. So she, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me find it here.
It's gonna be 90 Spider-Man all over again.
Bum bum bum. Meet Madam Web. So she's basically a I don't know if she's a mutant or what's going on with her, but she is part of the Spider-Verse, and she's basically I think before the cartoon, before the 90s cartoon, she didn't have this power, but afterwards she always had this power, right? Because it fits so well into the Spider-Verse. She kind of orchestrates everything and pulls it together, and she brings him in for certain missions or whatever. You know, I mean, you're aware of Madam Web?
I'm aware of Madam Web. I don't know all her powers, but because
She's like blind.
She's a
and-
mutant.
She's a mutant.
she's a mutant. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm aware of enough.
She
of
won't
her.
be a mutant in the Venomverse though, because they don't have those rights.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they play their cards right, they could do something that could be fantastic.
I mean, if you think about it, ever since Spider-Man came to the MCU, Kevin Feige has been teasing that he might cross over. Amy Pascal said from day one, it was like, oh yeah, we're building our own Spider-Man universe, and he's going to come back and forth. And remember, that's that famous meme where
Yeah,
Feige
we
is like,
ridiculed
what?
her.
Kevin Feige's like,
Heavy.
look, dude, I said
Yeah.
this like as a joke. I wish you would just stop for a second. Like, don't be trying to tell everybody to plan 10 years down the line.
Yeah, so, excuse me. Later on, even more recently, I think he said that Spider-Man might show up in Venom. That was up to Sony.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and we know for a fact that they did film a Tom Holland Spider-Man scene for Venom 1, and they showed it to Disney. Disney didn't like it. So I don't know if it's on the DVD or what, or you know, the special features, but it's out there.
It's in a very dark closet.
Yeah.
That's where it is. They
Yeah.
don't want anyone to see it.
Yeah, because I mean, Sony could push their weight around with Marvel, but not with Disney.
No.
Disney's big brother. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, Sony does have its own parent company, Sony, that is worldwide, that makes everything you use on a day-to-day basis.
Still not Disney, which is everything you watch
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, no, they own what? ABC, CBS, one of the two.
ABC.
NBC, yep.
ABC.
ABC, yep.
Yeah, NBC is Universal.
Yep.
But oh shoot, there was one more thing. Come on, brain. Oh, so there are rumors out there. So okay, so the way the Spider-Man deal works is if Sony were to get bought or sold, the Spider-Man rights do not go with them. So there's a lot of hopes in the fandom that Apple was going to buy Sony to bolster their digital services, or Amazon was going to buy them. Well, that's not happening. A lot of people are crossing their fingers, but it's not happening.
It's not happening.
Yeah, just to address that.
Enough big fish in the pond.
Yep.
All right. That's all. Y'all have anything
That's
else?
it. So I think we're all caught up on Spider-Man. We're just waiting
See what happens
for the next Spider-Man.
Just don't leak, don't leak information about meetings and things. We don't need to know.
Tom Holland.
Or whoever. It's probably Tom Holland. All right, so on to number 2.
Bum, bum, bum.
With the final chapter of this movie coming out in December, there were some new photos that were released and some more information about Rise of Skywalker that has hit the airways. And I'm pretty sure maybe we'll show the pictures, but one of the pictures, it shows Kylo Ren kind of holding his ground against what looks like just a giant wave of Force energy and a whole bunch of stormtroopers not catching a break and
I'm
getting
there. Sorry.
It's okay. And getting like flung around like little babies. That's one of that one right there. And you can see Kylo Ren kind of looks. It doesn't really look any different. I mean, his clothes still look the same. Over to the left, though, you would be able to see his helmet, which he has reforged, and it looks like it has a whole bunch of like red veins and everything in there.
So yeah, on this cover you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
The Empire cover. That's where these images are from in the Empire magazine.
They had an exclusive photo. Just have exclusive pictures, but yeah, and there's a lot that's going to be going on with this movie, and there's a lot of information that's come out. We've gotten some really good looks at the Knights of Ren, and I'm surprised they don't have lightsabers. I mean, I knew from The Force Awakens, like seeing them in that one pitch, they don't, but they have like regular blades and guns, and I'm like, what's the deal with these guys? But apparently Kylo Ren's going to kill them anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's what it looks like, even though deny.
Jeez.
Guerrera.
We saw him skating through there, just chunking them on his lightsaber.
Yeah.
But what else was Star Wars? There's a lot of rumors going around. One of them is that Kylo Ren uses pieces of Vader's helmet to repair his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
That Palpatine is now more machine than he was man, or is man. And that this one's like out there, and I saw it like glancing, but that Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter, which didn't know Palpatine had a kid. So
yeah, that's different. I mean, there's so many different theories on every which way.
Some of them make sense. Some of them are out there. Some of them are, why does C-3PO have red eyes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. Y'all have anything on Star Wars where we can?
So Kevin Feige wants to make a Star Wars movie, and which is weird, or not weird. I mean, he's always been a Star Wars fan, and he is now flexing his muscle, and he's getting to put it together.
Is he making a Star Avenger?
Yeah, so I'm in Halloween spirit. I'm Kevin Feige today, just because he's having a really good week, and I want to be Kevin Feige right now. So I've got my Marvel character hat. It's the Bentonville West Wolverines on my hat there. But yeah, so with Spider-Man coming back into the MCU, And of course, he did. I don't think he really negotiated that, but it's a good week for him. And now he's announced, or not he is announced, but Lucasfilm has announced that he's going to be doing a Star Wars movie. And as a Star Wars fan, this is not really bad news because he knows it's just like Jon Favreau. He's a Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
And so he's putting it together, and can't wait to see what he's going to do and how he's going to pull it out the box. I mean,
Curious what era it's going to be in.
yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, it's obviously not going to be part of the Skywalker saga because that's coming to an end with Rise of Skywalker. I keep putting the in the wrong place. It's The Rise of Skywalker, not Rise of the Skywalker.
Yeah. That's going to happen until the movie proves us otherwise,
Yeah.
I guess.
So there's a lot of speculation out there right now that possibly Kevin Feige might be making moves to take over Lucasfilm. Yeah, because right now, I mean, excuse me, in the MCU, he's closed it out. He's done the undoable, and the big connected cinematic universe. All of his movies in the MCU, they average $1 billion a movie.
What?
Like, that is insane.
Why is that an average of a billion?
Yes, he's averaging $1 billion a movie. He's at the top of his game. So as a nerd, he wants to make a Star Wars movie, and so they're just getting out of his way and letting him do it.
It's like, well, if you can make $1 billion, well, yeah, I'll do it. Fine.
Yeah, and to be honest, Star Wars needs the oversight right now, and so I mean, there's a lot. Plus, outside of that, there's a lot kind of going on behind the scenes with Star Wars too. Bob Iger just released a new book where it's kind of like a memoir almost, like of how he kind of built Disney to where it is now, like with bringing in other companies and buying up other companies like Pixar and things like that. And he never really set out to do that, but it's like he's just telling about how it happened. So him and Steve Jobs were really good friends, and they were working with Pixar. Things weren't working out, and Pixar was actually starting to have issues with Disney being too controlling. But because Steve Jobs and Bob Iger knew each other, and I don't think they were friends yet at this point. I think they were just kind of like rivals, Mm-hmm. But Bob Iger kind of went out of his way. They got to know each other, and they became really good friends. And so when things started to go downhill with Steve Jobs and everything, he sold the company to Disney, to Bob Iger, because he trusts Bob Iger. Even though they're rivals or whatever, he still knows that he's a good businessman. He does his job well. And so the Pixar deal was like, I want to say, like $7 billion or something like that. It was insane.
The fact they had this much money just to throw.
Yeah, so I mean, it was like, it went down in history as like one of the best deals ever, like the best way it could have gone, and it was handled well, and really just
$7.4 billion.
yeah. So
I don't even know what that looks like.
yeah, so George Lucas wasn't really looking to sell Lucasfilm, but Bob Iger, him and Bob Iger and Steve Jobs were all friends. And it was known that if you want to make a deal, Bob Iger's the guy to deal with because he'll do you right. And because him and Steve Jobs had a mutual respect, and they were basically rivals who got along, and that kind of stuff. And he did him right. So I want to say it was Bob Iger was asking George Lucas. He was like, "Look, you're getting up there in age." He's like, "Stop me if I'm getting too morbid here, but I mean, you're getting kind of up there in age. None of your kids do Lucasfilm. Like, what happens when you move on? Like, have you planned for that? Have you thought about that?"
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in his mind, he hadn't thought about it, but he got to thinking about it, and through Steve Jobs, he basically told Steve Jobs, he was like, if I ever sold Lucasfilm or if I ever did anything with Lucasfilm, it would be with Bob Iger. There's nobody else I would ever work with. So basically, Steve Jobs set up the connection between them.
Just wondering how Steve Jobs got so rich. Now I know how.
Yeah, he's a deal maker.
Okay, my thing on that. So back when the deal first happened, when it was like in transition, not all the papers were signed and all that, South Park did an episode. South Park does a lot of things. They did an episode about Disney buying Lucasfilm. You know, Mickey Mouse was coming in there, and like they were going, like Mickey was trying to find the stuff so Disney could buy Star Wars, and then there were these Chinese agents that were coming that were coming in, and they were trying to find the plans so they could buy Star Wars, and then Obama got involved. It got weird.
What?
Yeah, it got weird.
Thanks, Obama.
But
I like Star Wars.
Who ended up getting it? I think everyone was trying to keep it away from Disney because they thought Disney wouldn't do it justice.
Right.
And then I think eventually they decided, yeah, it's for the best if Disney has it, if I remember right.
Yeah. And I know that's how George Lucas felt about it. And Bob Iger kind of, sorry, there's a fly buzz in my face right here. So there's a bit of a kickback right now for people misunderstanding how the deal went down based on that kind of stuff and Bob Iger's book, which is like one chapter in this book. Good gravy, this gnat. Excuse me. So George Lucas wanted to deal with Bob Iger, wanted to sell to Disney. He told him, he was like, I want that Pixar deal. And he was like, okay. He was up front with him. He was like, look, George, you're not going to get the Pixar deal. For one, Lucasfilm hasn't made a movie in ages and hasn't made a movie that was done well in even longer. He's like, your bread and butter, Star Wars, the prequels weren't well received. So I'm not going to be able to broker that kind of deal for you. He's like, I can bring you into, I can introduce you to my people, and they can kind of get a number for you. But you got to understand, with Pixar, we weren't just getting their movies, and they had number one after number one after number one, like consistently. They also had all the engineering, all the technology that you were dealing with. Yeah. So, I mean, they were buying up a lot more than just Toy Story when they got Pixar,
I mean, the first 5 movies made over $1 million.
Yeah.
100 million. Sorry.
Yeah, which at the time, even especially for an animated film, was a big deal.
And all 5 of them.
Yeah. And Pixar just kind of came out of nowhere, but it was like one of those magic moments where you've got all the right people at the right time type thing. I've got a great book on it. It's really good. It's a great book. I cannot remember the name of it right now, but
You talking about the Infinity movie? I mean, book.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have?
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but is it To Infinity? I don't think it is. Is it?
Yeah, the red one with Buzz Lightyear on the front.
Buzz
Lightyear. We can't talk today for real.
None of us can talk this
I thought
morning.
nobody would notice.
Can't let that pass.
I'm telling you.
So, so obviously he told him, he was up front with him, told you, you're not going to get the Pixar deal, for all these reasons. And he was like, okay, so what are we looking at? And he said that in the book, he talks about how he was very upfront with George, and he was like, okay, well, look, this is what we're wanting to do. We're interested in buying it. And he was like, well, okay, he said George was adamant about having creative control. And he was like, look, George, we're not going to buy your studio. I think they bought it for like $6-7 million or something like that. We're not going to buy Lucasfilm and let you keep control of it for $7 million. You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's like us could do all the work and you get to tell us what to do. That's not how it works. And so, you know, of course, George was like, okay, well, if I'm going to sell, I'm not going to get that. And so he was like, okay, well, and so George also had treatments for the next 3 movies and came to him and was like, hey, why don't you take a look at these, see what you think. So he said he read the treatments and he said there was a lot of good material in there. And so he said they couldn't go forward without having that material. So they bought those for like $100,000 a piece or something like that. Bought the treatments.
God.
Yeah.
That's just the amount of money people be throwing around.
For real. Well, I mean, this is a huge IP with lots of potential.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, I mean, whatever. He told him up front, he never told him that they were going to go forward with those treatments, but he said that they would use the treatments to mine material and stuff like that. So when they bought Lucasfilm, and of course they're a private or a publicly traded company, they got shareholders, they got to turn a profit, right? They got to show that their investment made sense. Otherwise, they're going to dump it, right? Like they had to do with Fox. So they got J.J. Abrams, they got George put Kathleen Kennedy in. He realized he wasn't going to get creative control, so he inserted Kathleen Kennedy in, like basically in the middle of this deal. And Bob Iger was like, "What are you doing, George?" And he was like, "She comes with the company, or it's a no-go." And he was like, "Okay, George." And so that was kind of like his roundabout way of trying to get keep creative control, which didn't work out. So they got J.J. Abrams on board, and they turned around a movie, right? Really quick, something that was familiar with the audiences, not something that was risky or anything like that, something they knew they could make money back on. Force Awakens. They showed it to George. He was livid. He was livid. He hated it for all the same reasons that the fans hated it. It was a regurgitation of this. It was just rehash of old material. Episode there was nothing original. There was no I want to say like 2 of George's cardinal rules is if you're going to make a Star Wars, there needs to be new technology, and there better be a compelling story reason why. And it didn't meet either one of those. George was livid, and he's married to a black lady, and he's got kids with her. And he publicly came out and said it felt like he was selling his kids off to white slavers.
What?
Yeah, like he was upset. So Bob Iger said he knew going into the deal how George was handling it, that it was an emotional attachment. He's a creator. This is his baby. That he knew that it was going to be rough, but he didn't know it was going to be that rough. And he said, although he disagreed with him, obviously, he did understand where he was coming from. So he let him have it, and he was like, I get it, okay. You know, and he said, I could have handled that better. I should have handled that better. I didn't mean to be, disrespectful or to lie or anything like that. But George just thought it was going to be something different than it was. And he said, I didn't lead him on or anything like that. But he said, now we're cool. Or he didn't say it like that, obviously. But so The Last Jedi come out, and of course, same type of deal, right? Yep. But now Disney has learned the same, or Lucasfilm is learning the same lesson that Marvel already knew, is you can't move forward with a property without having the creator attached, at least as a mascot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so now they've brought George Lucas back in for oversight and, you know, not creative control, but yeah, I mean, he's been on set for Rise of Skywalker and all this stuff, and Mandalorian, giving his advice, and really helping to right the ship, you know.
I mean, Kevin Feige seems like a respectful dude, so I would feel like he would be really close with George Lucas and trying to get it right.
Yeah,
he wants
exactly.
to get it right.
Yeah, and even though I did see recently that because I've heard that J.J. Abrams is kind of retconning some things, and he's publicly said that he didn't agree with some of the decisions that Rian Johnson made with The Last Jedi. I think it might just be playing the game. He's recently come out saying that he's not retconning, he's not changing anything, you know. So,
I mean, there's ways to make it work. Because, watching The Last Jedi, there were things in there that didn't make sense, but there were, things in there that had underlined meanings to them. And you could that no one just came out and just straight up said in the movie, but that's what they were.
Yeah.
If he just comes out and... That's new, maybe. I don't know. If he comes out and just says the things that had all the underlying meanings in the Rise of Skywalker, it will be like, oh, that's why that's that way, and they'll make it look less worse.
Yeah, reverse engineer some stuff and kind of make it, fold it back into itself.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's going to do because JJ is good at that. He's not so much good at endings, but he is good at reverse engineering and problem solving. So I have no doubt that he's going to make it work and make it make sense. But I mean, we're holding out hope. And I talked to a hardcore Star Wars fan a couple weeks ago, and he was one of the people that loved Rise of Skywalker, thought it was great.
The Last Jedi?
Or The Last Jedi, yeah. And I was just kind of appalled because, everybody I've talked to, it's not necessarily just hated it, but, admitted that it's got some problems.
It did have problems.
So.
And there were some things that it just needs to... I don't know. There were some things that it were weird and didn't make sense, but it was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
By the way, that book that we were bickering about earlier is called Creativity, Inc.
Ha!
So I was wrong.
It does have
By
Buzz
Amy
Lightyear
Wallace
on it,
and
though.
Edwin Catmull, yeah. And the ink in Finn, I don't know why I got the infinity.
Because Buzz Lightyear's on it.
To infinity.
No, it's obviously Bugs Lightyear.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I'm wrong.
And I'm right.
Yep.
So, we spent a lot of time on that, and just telling stories and stuff. But we love Star Wars, so we could probably just do a show on that. Lydia would probably not be a part of it. As you could tell, she's found something else to do.
Drinking my water.
That was supposed to be the magic of the split screen thing here, but I can't get it to work right.
We should do a show where we do, right before episode 9 comes out, we should just do a story up till now. Talk about all things Star Wars.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I want to see y'all for a week.
Get Andrew in here.
That'll be a 2-hour show. That's off the bat.
Yeah. Mandalorian comes out next month, y'all. Woo!
Oh, yeah. But I think that's all I have for Star Wars. New pictures, a lot of rumors. Everybody's hoping for the best and don't screw it up.
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got it?
On to number 3.
All right. And finally, number 3. What is this mess over here?
Oh, my bad. Wrong Joker.
Did he get a chin implant for that?
What is this?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to change it fast, but my thing is...
the little bouncy balls you get out the little machine. Who done stuck that on that man's chin? What is this? What is going on?
I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. I'm sorry. How is this? Good gravy. What am I doing? Okay.
There we go. The Joker.
Yeah.
Comes out.
I'm a mess. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
Okay. The new Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. The movie will come out this Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night. But the U.S. military and several others have issued a statement of warning when going to see this movie. They feel like it might incite violence, similar to the mass shooting that happened in the theater. What state was it?
Colorado.
In Colorado.
Aurora.
Aurora, Colorado.
With the Dark Knight.
With the Dark Knight Rises. Yes.
Was it? No, I thought it was the second one.
Oh, it was one of them. They both have similar
It
names.
was the Joker one, I think.
Okay.
Because I think that's what they're tying, how they're tying
yeah.
it together.
And they're just kind of warning everybody to be careful. The statement said, if you see something, say something.
The Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises. Oh, okay. See something, say something. If you happen to, when you go into the theater, mind your exits. Make sure you know how to get out. If you can run. But they're not saying that they gotten any threats or anything. They just want everyone to go and be safe, basically. The actual theater in Aurora, there was a news story that came out that they're not going to show the movie at all.
Wow.
So anybody in Aurora, Colorado, if they did want to see it, they would have to go elsewhere. The NYPD, they're not taking any chances. They're actually going to be stationing officers at theaters for the opening weekend of this movie, just because they know how people can be because they live in New York City. So they're not taking any chances on that. And I don't know if anyone else is. I'm pretty sure as we get closer, there'll be probably people that follow the same suit and have officers posted at theaters. But it's not kind of insane. It is insane that this is something people are really worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it can be really controversial, but in the end, why not take precaution?
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt anything
It's
to
very
take a
safe and
precaution.
sorry.
That's just only going to make people want to feel more comfortable to be there. And so I would hate for a movie's opening week to be damaged by what's the word I'm looking for? The fear of going to see it, and that's not fair to the movie. And so I appreciate that they're sending, precautions and things like that, and just saying like, hey, we acknowledge that this could be a movie that could incite that, so we're gonna take precautions just so that you can enjoy this movie. I think that's a good call.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard not to get into political stuff and all that kind of stuff with this. This
is super borderline.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, the theater in Aurora and the people there that were affected by that. I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, this type of
It's too
character,
sensitive.
it's too sensitive. I mean, this is an open wound still.
Yeah.
For them. But so Warner Brothers decided not to show it there, and to issue a statement out of respect for them, and but they're still pushing it. You know what I mean? They're still pushing. They're still saying that it shouldn't be released. Things like that. Or I don't want to misspeak. There are people who are saying it shouldn't be released. I'm not sure that it is the Aurora Theater and those people. But I mean, go back and watch our other episode where we talked about it and how it's the Joker character and the Joker archetype has been around for a long time.
Right.
And so to say that showing this character or is glorifying this character or glorifying this type of wrongness is, I think, is short-sighted. For one, this is a character study, and it makes a lot of statements about how someone falls into that and how we might look at that and learn something and not treat people that way or let people be treated that way.
And I don't think any of the Joker stories ever forget that the Joker is the villain. Batman is the hero.
Right.
And so this is just not a Batman movie. this is a Joker movie. This is the same way of whenever they decided to do Brightburn, where if Superman was a serial killer kid. Yeah, exactly. Like, there are movies that do that. Yeah. There are movies that have their place in that. I mean, you watch, even movies like V for Vendetta, like, this is what that movie feels like to me. It feels similar to V for Vendetta, which we watch every November, because it has its place. It strikes a chord with people for a reason. It is a controversial topic for a purpose. And it has its place, just like any art does. All art, to someone who beholds it in that way, is gonna be controversial. I think to call it into question so much so that they want to pull it is a little too far.
Yeah, it's to me, I mean, if you treat all mediums the same, it's almost the equivalent of book burning. You know what I mean? It's like, don't let this movie see the light of day, that kind of thing. And I mean, like she said, art has its purpose, and it's to get people talking.
Exactly.
You might not like it, but it's going to get you talking. It's going to get the conversation going. And
just
these are
because
things
it's
we
not
need to
for
talk
you,
about.
just because it's not for you and it's not something that you want to enjoy, that doesn't mean that you get to take that away from other people.
Exactly.
That's what makes it not your place to call it. If you don't want to see it, don't go watch it.
Yeah, like, you might not like modern art. It might not be for you. You think it's not art at all, but there are some people that it moves them.
Yeah.
It moves them. You know what I mean? It is... You're one of those people?
No, I'm going to be devil's advocate now.
Hit it.
Okay. So on the other side of that, with like the climate of today's culture and like how everything is, like, a lot of people are scared. Like, we, I think the last time I heard it, we average about one mass shooting a month, and that's what like that kind of boils down to, and what everyone like feels like this movie is inciting. It's just for the simple fact that it's so grounded in like reality, and like the Joker doesn't have powers.
It's not set in Gotham.
It's not set in like Gotham. He's just a regular dude who had one bad day, and like they are just like worried. It's like, oh well, if someone goes see this and they like, well, I had one bad day, I'm gonna go just blow something up. And that's where they're all like coming from with that. Is like, we don't want to say to everybody, if you have one bad day, this is the justification of your the attitude that you should have.
Don't give them a patron saint.
Yeah.
I can see that point of view to a certain extent. There are those things out there already, and to say that those things cause violence is not an accurate statement. I mean, you look at, as far as like mass shootings and things like that happen in America, violent video games or whatever, apples to apples, right? Violence in media, visual media. And even video games, you might argue that they're more engaging.
Super engaging.
Way more engaging than a movie.
Yeah.
But the same violent video games that come out in the U.S., come out in Japan, come out in Canada, come out in all around the world, they don't have the same issues that we have with that.
And if a movie can produce someone to have the thought line that they can do that, there's something more at the root that is the problem. Just because I have a bad day, I can't go to Walmart and see a bag of chips sitting there and say, okay, that bag of chips provoked me to break the law. If I speed, it was not whatever reason I was speeding for.
To steal the chips, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like, none of that gives me a reason to do something wrong. None of it. Nothing justifies that. And so to say a movie is causing people to think this way, that is not okay.
It's a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to talk about the bigger issues, and that's what this movie does. It shines a light on the bigger issues of mental health and mistreatment of those with mental health issues.
Don't get me wrong. I understand being scared to go somewhere. I'm a white almost 25-year-old woman. I know what it's like to be scared to go somewhere, especially at night when movies come out to the theater. I would never go to that movie alone. Mm-hmm. I would never go to a movie like Magic Mike or Hustlers alone because of the fear that I live in. So don't get me wrong, I understand that fear, and that fear is validated.
She went to the gym by herself, and guys,
somebody followed me out to my car. I live in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like,
in like one of the safest regions, one of the best places to live in America.
Yeah. And it's just like so frustrating. I understand that fear, and it is validated, and you can be like, you are not wrong for being scared. I'm not trying to make you feel wrong for being scared or upset about it. We're not trying to attack anything.
Yeah. But you can't react out of fear, because that's what they're doing. You stoop to their level. Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them stronger. That builds them even more.
That validates them. That's what validates them, not these characters, because these characters have been around for a long time. I mean, you look at even like Martin Scorsese movies, who he tells stories about gangsters, mobsters. I mean, The Irishman is coming out, and it is about like the dude that killed Jimmy Hoffa, right? I want to say, I know it's Jimmy Hoffa. I want to say, I think the guy that killed him, or a couple guys that possibly killed Jimmy Hoffa. And so it's obviously a gangster. Allegedly, it's another gangster movie that explores violence. And it is much more tied to fact or reality than the Joker.
That mess happened.
But nobody is calling out The Irishman. I mean, Todd Phillips, the director, said, everybody goes to see John Wick in the theaters and watches him slay 100 people and
boy howdy
claps. But like Lydia said earlier, when we were talking about it, it's like the difference in that is it's apples to oranges, kind of, because John Wick is a hero.
He's killing bad people.
Yeah, the bad
He's
guys.
Not killing innocent people.
That dude used to be a hitman.
Exactly. That's the thing.
He's
It's like
killing
they don't
other
show
hitmen.
that.
Yeah.
They don't show that in the beginning because people would be upset over that type of movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, that shows a form of remorse. That's the difference. Is the Joker doesn't show remorse for his actions against innocents. And I think that's the problem that people have with it, and that's a valid problem. That should upset you.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
it doesn't upset you, then there's something wrong. But to say to the extreme that they don't get to show it is not okay.
Yeah, because even Todd Phillips talking about making this movie, the interest was, how do you reverse engineer a person like this? How does someone get to this point? So it is literally a character study in how a person becomes like this.
If you think tweets and Facebook posts are funny about I'm about to climb into bed and watch all my murder mysteries, why are you so fascinated with it? You're fascinated because you want to know why people tick, why people do the things that they do. That's what this movie is, and it's based on a comic. It's not based on real facts.
Every white
where they
person
have to blur people's faces.
Every white person, every time a new serial killer movie comes out on Netflix, like everybody loves Dexter. Like, knowing a dude is a serial killer, he's a bad guy. He blurred the line, but he only kills bad guys. The writers and the showrunners, especially towards the end, wanted everybody to know Dexter's a bad guy. Okay, don't be expecting a happy ending for Dexter. He's a bad guy, and he is solidly in the bad guy category. Even though this was fun to watch and fun to explore, he's a bad guy.
For me, it gets into the realm where, and this is really controversial, so this is I'm sorry, but when a bad guy is not attractive, it gets way more flack than when the bad guy killing people is attractive.
Zac Efron.
Exactly. Thank you. You talk about how Zac Efron was Ted Bundy in the Netflix series. That came out.
And everybody was like, ooh,
everybody
Ted
was so
What?
excited.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, hey, Ted Bundy was, Ted Bundy.
If you want to talk about issues.
Fascinated with it.
Real life, if y'all met Ted Bundy, you would be dead. So,
Unless he was just getting his groceries.
It's just
Dude
like,
had to eat.
it is a big
I mean, he wasn't
deal.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
I think you're confused.
He didn't eat folks, dude.
Ted Bundy?
Yeah.
We might be getting mixed up. I can't remember. You're
Jeffrey
right.
Dahmer ate folks.
I think it's backwards.
Somebody ate people and babies.
Yeah.
Or one of them collected kids.
Both?
Ted Bundy was an American serial killer who kidnapped, raped, and murdered numerous young women and girls during the 1970s and possibly earlier. And then Jeffrey Dahmer.
But, I mean, we love movies like Zodiac, like BTK, all this stuff. But, I mean, they've got lights going
He
up.
dismembered people. It doesn't say that he ate them.
Is he the one that dismembered them and froze them?
I don't know. This one
Jeffrey Dahmer ate
was boys.
Oh.
So. But I mean, like, that's the issue. Is like, that's the issue that I have with it. Is like, this is based on a comic book. And if you can't face this, I don't know how you face reality every day. Because this is the reality of what we live in.
Well,
People are scared to go to the theater for a movie because of the
Yeah.
world that we live in. And that should be what we're talking about. We shouldn't be so scared to pull the movie. We should be talking about, well, we can make a difference in society, in
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
society.
It's a scapegoat. People don't want to actually change themselves and change their lives. It's easier to say, let's just take that down.
Yeah.
And that'll solve our problem. It's the magic pill thing.
Exactly. I mean, we talked about it, I think, last week, where the guy who did the art exhibit that was at Crystal Bridges, that was...
Men of Steel, Woman of Wonder?
Yeah, he got a lot of flack for it kind of having some homosexual tones and things like that, but it wasn't
Not tones.
homophobic.
Overt.
Well, I mean, exactly. I mean, like, he meant no harm by it. He was only interpreting art in the way that he knew how. And so I think that that's all that anybody is trying to do. But to say, no, we're going to take this painting down, we're going to cover it up because we don't like it, that's not fair.
Yeah,
that's not fair.
It just wasn't for you. Just don't look. Don't go see it. It's not like, I mean, it was in a place you had to go to look at it.
We're not
yeah.
Marsha
You know, it's-
Langman, okay?
We're not putting it out on Main
Yeah.
Street.
You had to pay for that.
Yeah.
So,
If you,
So-
you have to pay for this, so if you don't want to go see it, don't go see it.
yeah.
But we're losing lights here. We got to get it
Yeah.
going.
All right. Let's. I think we've said everything we can say about it.
Yeah, it's hard not to talk about this and not get preachy, but I'm excited for the movie. I really enjoy movies like this. I can't wait to see The Irishman.
Yep.
I can't wait to show her Godfather if I can get her to sit down that long.
I think it will be a don't miss, just for the pure talent that is in this movie. Joaquin Phoenix, his just ability as an actor is amazing. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a don't miss for
Transcendent.
those things.
This is one of the roles that, from what I'm seeing, this is like one of those transcendent roles where
Yep.
he is just.
Joaquin Phoenix. I'm gonna push for you to get an Oscar. I have no pull in this, but
Yeah, everybody's like,
Either
"You
way,
give him
we're
the Oscar."
voting.
Nobody's seen it.
it's gonna be good.
But
and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
But do be careful if you feel like
Also, yes.
you need to be safe and not see it in theater or wait to see it. You do right by you.
Yep.
You know, don't betray your own gut, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's it. Everybody, if you go see the movie, still mind the warning, be safe. But I think, hopefully, everyone will be okay.
Yeah. So far it seems much to do about nothing, which is the best possible scenario.
Yeah. But just do what you gotta do. I don't think I have anything else for it. Do y'all have any final thoughts? All right.
Yep.
Well, that is all for
Just
the.
same thing I'm always saying. Don't tear down things you don't like. Let somebody else have it.
Yeah. Yeah. Any last thoughts, anybody? In general?
I think we're good.
Oh, okay.
So, I changed the words up on the paper. I'm Ron Burgundy here. I'm just going to read what's written. So thanks for joining us today. We hope that you'll join us live on YouTube next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Please like and subscribe. Hit the little bell icon
Ding.
so that you know when we drop a new video. And podcast listeners, please leave us 5 stars in your podcast app. And don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.pictures.com. This is Dylan.
And I'm Lydia.
This is Quin.
And we'll see you next time. Hopefully next Tuesday.
Next
Peace.
Tuesdays.